I left the school systems as a speech language pathologist. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Natalie. I work primarily in early intervention, and then I have a couple of feeding kids and oral myofunctional disorder cases on my caseload. I haven't yet talked about it on this channel, but I actually was a late talker myself. I was a picky eater myself, and I had an oral myofunctional disorder. With all of that, it has really shaped the way that I interact with the world. I love treating all three things. I love treating kids with language delays, or if they have an augmentative or an alternative communication device, so like a speech generating device. I find too that those kids also deal with feeding difficulties at times. Approximately 80% of kids that have a language delay or a developmental delay also have a feeding disorder. And with the feeding disorder, we'll also see variations in their oral motor development. You have this trifecta. I love taking that holistic approach. I find that there's such benefit to targeting all three. The reason why I did end up treating this on my own versus under another company is that I wanted to be very involved with the families that I work with. In the state of Illinois, I am a part of the early intervention program. Essentially, this means that we provide home-based services. I go to the family's home or their daycare or another community place, and I help the family find ways to embed strategies into their everyday routines. For example, if a kid I'm seeing for picky eating is a kid who is just feeling confident with purees, so think like yogurts or applesauce, I'll tell the parents ways that they could embed the purees or a preferred food, and then introduce other step above so that child can also get more of that crunching sensation versus just sucking down the easy puree. For language, this might look like I'm telling the parent how to support their child's joint attention skills by using a point during reading and making very exciting and entertaining sounds like woof, yay, to help their child get very engaged in that pointing. And when that parent is labeling something via point, then that little kid could be like, oh, every time my mom points to that round object that bounces, she says ball, I bet that's called a ball. So those are two examples of that. With the oral myofunctional disorders, it's a little more nuanced in the sense of it's really good for the parent to be present, but I'll also run through a little bit more trials of, okay, we're going to do 10 trials of this, or we're going to do this for a minute, X amount of times. It's very individualized. But I find that when I'm very involved with the family, that's when I'll see a lot more progress occur with that little one's speech and language and feeding skills. I'll see that parents will also tell me what is and isn't working, and one thing might work for one family and one thing might work for another family. An example is I have this little one who is very aware that her speech sounds a little different even though she's like 28 months, and mom will say that she does not like when we're using options. She will get frustrated, she will say no. And so that family will use a different approach, whereas a family who maybe their child has a different temperament will be very open to saying like, oh, banana or apple, and that little one will easily say apple. Now, I like to also communicate with my families. I like them to know that although it's not linked to my personal number, they are open to texting me any updates or any wins that they may have at that time. The reason why I ended up wanting to start a YouTube and a Substack and a blog is just because I wanted families to have a similar access to education that they would as if I wasn't there. I think within the city of Chicago, I see that there's such a need for speech therapy in some areas, and it does make me sad to see that. Of course, I can't take every kid on my caseload. I think that's going to lead to me burning out, and if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't take care of my caseload. All in all, this video is more of an introduction to see what my services are, what you can expect from this channel, and ways that I think that I could create content in a way to serve you as a parent, as a caregiver, as another speech therapist, or allied professional best in your everyday routines, and just to continue on showing support. Because if I, as a speech therapist, don't show up for my families or for the daycare providers or for anyone, don't answer questions, I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the people that I meet with every day.